The Pacific Islands are located around Australia, to be more specific, mostly around the northern parts of Australia. This Pacific Island region covers up a huge area which is around 300,000 square miles. Many communities and tribes are living in these places, but they are struggling because of the current condition of climate, as they are Australia's neighbors. Let's explore how Australia is dealing with the issue. This huge area consists of many tiny and medium-sized islands. Some of the Pacific Islands are Bora Bora Island, Rarotonga, Tahiti Island, Oahu, Taivuni Island, Kingsman Reef, etc. According to the types of islands, they are usually divided into two types: oceanic islands and continental islands. The first type of islands are usually smaller in size compared to the continental islands, and the continental islands are bigger in area size. Vegetable and food cultivation in the continental islands is easier because it has rich and fertile soil, which helps in cultivation. Such islands also have hilly areas and deep forests, which are beneficial for human civilization, whereas the oceanic islands are mostly volcano-based islands, and the soil of such islands are rocky and fragile, where cultivation is harder, and due to volcanic explosion and earthquakes, such islands faces difficulty. Both types of islands are eventually the victim of the climate change, as many islands area has been submerged because of the sinking, which is happening because of melting ice caps, and the water level of the sea is rising. This region of the northern part of Australia is mostly facing threats regarding climate change before the usual countries because of their geographic location. Climate change and its fundamental reasons. Climate change is causing because of so many reasons. The fundamental reason behind climate change is the rise in the proportion of carbon dioxide. Excessive carbon emission increases the global temperature, thus climate changes appear. The growing rate of development is happening because it is modernizing the civilizations, but it's enhancing the rate of carbon dioxide in the air as more industries and factories are being created. And mostly all the reasons behind climate change are somehow related to carbon dioxide emission. Greenhouse gases are largely responsible for climate change. These gases absorb or trap the heat inside the atmosphere of the Earth and rests it from releasing it outside the world's atmosphere. Methane, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, chlorofluorocarbons, etc. are some of the common greenhouse gases. The world temperature increases largely because the gases absorb the heat and don't let it release into space, and the world could have been 30 degrees colder in case the greenhouse gases were not there. Excessive use of fossil fuel is also impacting the environment. Fossil fuels are natural resources like coal, gas, and oil. They are hydrocarbons and consist of a lot of carbon dioxide. Whenever such elements are burned, carbon dioxide releases into the environment, which increases the temperature. This is a human-made cause of climate change and is leaving more and more effective in climate change due to industrialization. Forests help the world to survive and stay colder by soaking the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and releasing oxygen. Whenever deforestation happens, a large number of trees are being cut down, and because of that, the rate of carbon storing by the trees reduces, and if we burn them, the stored carbon released to the environment again. In this way, deforestation increases the temperature of the world and boosts in climate changing. Cultivation and farming causes a lot of emission of greenhouse gases like nitrous oxide and methane, and compared to carbon dioxide, those gases are 30% more powerful. Those gases influences climate change quite rapidly. The production of cement also is a direct cause of carbon dioxide, as the production process releases a large amount of carbon dioxide, which is estimated that around 2% of carbon dioxide emission occurs because of cement. Impacts of climate change on the environment of Pacific Islands. Climate change affects the environment and ecosystem of Asia-Pacific region largely. It is causing the rise in the sea level. Compared to the sea level of last century, now it has risen around 8 inches in the last 100 years. This effect is severely dangerous for the coastal countries and island as their land gets sunk under the seawater, and in case of islands, their total area of the land shrinks as well. The Pacific Islands have been facing the same issue because of the rise in sea level, which is a great threat for the people living in those islands. It is estimated that the total amount of glaciers existing in the world will be disappeared within the upcoming 100 years. The polar icebergs, vast ice glaciers of Antarctica will melt as a result of global warming, and the melted water will increase the sea level more. This impact is a huge threat in terms of the people, lands, and the communities that are living in the Pacific Islands. As the sea level increases, the tides become more powerful, and during the high tides, seawater flows inside the localities and creates temporary floods. The rainfall becomes unstable, typhoons and hurricanes become a common issue, and they grow more powerful and huge waves. Climate change keeps making the world warmer, which changes the ecosystem of the entire world. The heavy rainfall areas face droughts, and rainfall happens in the places which were always less likely for it. Due to such changes, the animals, insects, and plants' habitat to the typical forecasts undergoes extinction, thus the chain of ecosystem breaks. The seawater temperature rises as well and makes living threatening to the cold water fishes. Changes in the ecosystem pushing a lot of species towards extinction, which is threatening for the Pacific Islanders as they depend on the sea for foods. Cultivation of food is very much related to the environment. A certain core requires a certain type of environment to ensure its proper production. Due to the rise in temperature, heavy rainfall, floods, droughts, the cultivation of core hampers as well as the production of food reduces. The cultivation of rice, which is a prime source of food of that region, decreases 10% with each 1 degree Celsius rise in temperature. But the good thing is, the government of Australia is helping the population of Pacific Island during this time of crisis. Initiatives taken by the Australian government. Australia is among one of the developed countries besides the Pacific Island regions, and as a sign of humanity, the government has launched few initiatives regarding the impacts of climate change and extreme weather conditions of Pacific Islands that are making them undergo devastating circumstances. The government has been following a few strategies and policies to support the victims. For that reason, they have taken the Pacific 2020 initiative, which has the vision to collaborate with the Pacific Islands and provide support. The Australian government is helping and preaching a helping hand towards the Pacific regional countries in terms of recent issues and climate change issues as well. Australia has helped Pacific regional countries to survive the COVID-19 wave by sending necessary aids. They also made a budget of $305 million to help the countries in that region. In terms of climate change, the government has helped those victim nations in many aspects. Australia gave $100 million to the Pacific Island countries to help them overcome the hit by Cyclone Harold and its destructions, and as well as a help for the pandemic. Papua New Guinea received $20.5 million of it as they faced the most destruction, and Australian government has also given an extension in visa validity and extended it 12 months for the Pacific workers working in Australia. The Australian government has sent separate supporting packages for Fiji, Samoa, Tonga, Papua New Guinea, and many other Pacific countries. Thus, the Australian government has been sending supportive assistance to the countries situated in the Pacific region over the years. To save the people of those islands, other superpowers of the world should come forward, so that their safety can be ensured, and this way we can make the world a better place.